And look at this, S4. G is not level 6. S4 has the invis room. He's going to start putting some pressure. Never mind. I thought with maybe Puppey coming in from the side, but Puppey actually, this is rather interesting. He uses a ward to block up the hard camp. We don't see this too often, especially this early on into the game, but they know how critical the Storm Spirit's farm is this game, so he's just trying to limit that as much as possible.
Man, that bottom lane, though, you even saw Zai kind of fake it out. He's like, do I actually go for this? He's like, yeah, I go for this. I'm going to get a kill. And that just opens up the map so much. This means that FNG has to rotate out of it because they no longer want to be in this bottom side of the map. But look at Illidan. He doesn't have any more regen to deal with this at all. And this is going to mean that at some point, Zai can probably just go for the dive on him if he has a TP.
Which means it's going to be of critical importance that Virtus Pro hold on to TP scrolls at this point. But I actually don't see any of their supports. They can't just straight up afford it. It's the problem.
This is not what you want to happen, especially for Alina, who relies on the setup stun for the Light Strike array. She doesn't have boots quite yet. They're incredibly poor. They're not going to have map vision for a little bit at least. They've still got that ward at that bottom lane, but it doesn't mean anything because Zai being there doesn't really reveal any information, and Secret don't really have to go for the gank at that bottom lane. Like, they can choose to smoke if they want to, but they'll probably move in for this bottom lane and then take the tower.
Try and chain stun S4. They get the Fissure. No, they couldn't get it up. S4 is actually going to get away. No, the right click is there. And God actually gets the kill. He's run out of mana, though. Little bit of a jump. Can he stay ahead of Arteezy? Another right click is going to bring him low, but they can't quite get it. So critical that VP actually got that kill on S4 and did not lose G in the process, as they're already a little bit down in the laning phase. That would pick up the kill and even it up 3-3.
That would have meant so much. I actually don't know how they recover if G dies there too, but they managed to get a ward down here somehow, the Observer ward, blocking out G's camps, and this is going to mean a lot to the Storm Spirit, who's already struggling in this mid lane.
Uh-oh, Illidan in some trouble, actually gets a good silence on S4. They need to try and pop it with a Fissure there. They'll do it! S4! Too aggressive! And now, well, Zai, he's going to have to surge away. There's no Fissure block, though, so no opportunity for a secondary kill. But Illidan staying alive through that and getting the kill on S4. Huge. Now he's got a Morbid Mask. He can actually spend some of his time jungling and leave the bottom lane optional for Lil to farm up and get his level 6.
Oh, and mid, they go for it, but
that was close.
G sees it coming, and that's really significant. That's back-to-back deaths. That's really tilting. You use two TPs for that. And at the same time, it just slows you down so much when it comes to farm.
Right.
He was keeping even in net worth with the Storm Spirit, but after that, he dips almost 800 gold behind him at just the 8-minute mark, and this is a lane that, in some ways, you should still have a decent-sized lead-in. Like, you can still be at least close to the Storm's net worth, but death after death isn't going to be able to complete it, and that just helps Illidan so much in that bottom lane.
DK Phobos is farming up his Soul Ring, trying to get that sustain that will allow him to full-time jungle. FNG is actually getting a little priority too. He's farming up the off lane, and obviously we're trying to get that Laguna Blade ready to go, so they have a lot more kill potential against some of the very squishy heroes on the side of Team Secret. I feel like they're relying quite heavily on Puppey to pull a lot of Shallow Grave saves in this game.
Yeah, they might opt to go for the mech on Artur at some point, but he might just decide to go for the Yule Scepter Crusher, and at top, they're going to try to chase down FNG.
Turns around, FNG doesn't have the Laguna Blade, but he still gets the combo on Arteezy and gets a good amount of damage. Artur, though, does have his bottle ready to go, so I'm sure he won't feel too pressured.
Zai's going to have to turn his hot start into something. He's about to grab a mech of his own, meaning I think Arteezy goes for either a really quick BKB. An SNY is probably decent here in this scenario too, if he doesn't want to go for the really fast BKB. A Yule's isn't a bad choice.
Puppey gets spotted out by Lil. Crow and S4 are still here though, so VP, and unless they really feel confident about bursting down one hero with a combination of Fissure, Silence, right clicks, and the Visage nuke to finish things off, but it seems like it would just be better for them to sit back and get their level 6s at this point.
Yeah, and after everything that happened in this bottom lane, this game is surprisingly incredibly close, as G and the Drow Ranger just trail the Shadow Fiend. You expect the Shadow Fiend to be this far ahead in net worth, and that means the other lanes really had to go better for Secret, and this mid lane, obviously that gank into that dive at bottom wasn't great, and Zai hasn't been able to do too much after that either.
Puppey's got to stay relatively close. He does have the level 2 Shallow Grave, but at any point, they could actually Fissure, silence, and maybe catch S4 out, but he's actually coming in with his Invis rune. Waiting for that opportunity for a good Sonic Wave initiation. There's still a lot of room, though, for Virtus Pro in the top lane. They haven't actually seen anybody for quite some time, and that's because Arteezy is doing a full-time jungle. FNG has had a lot of opportunity to get those levels and gold that he really needs as a support Lina to still be a factor. As you said last game, you kind of want that Lina by about 35 minutes to start performing a little bit more of a core role.
Yeah, you don't want her to just stay really poor, and so they prioritize getting the level 6 on her really quickly.
DK Phobos doesn't have a TP, but he's already into the trees, so S4 can't make that jump. Instead, they're going to go for this tier 1 tower. It's joined now by Lil. They may be able to push back. Never mind. There's no glyph whatsoever, so the tower is going to fall. No attempt at a deny either. Virtus Pro playing it a lot more cautiously.
There's just not enough heroes ready for VP, and DK Phobos isn't level 6. He doesn't have enough farm. There's no way they want to continue to contest that, and FNG, he's just going to push that top lane out, force somebody to come back, and force Arteezy to show himself. Like, they're just playing for the information game at this point. They don't really want to get into a straight fight with Secret, with the heroes that they have. The Drow isn't going to really come to a fight just yet. Even if she TPs in, she doesn't have a reliable disable. The slow is okay, but it's not something you want to initiate with.
Right. Why do you think Illidan on his Drow Ranger chose to only go for one ring of the kills? Oftentimes when we see Drow Rangers, especially with early game pressure, they go for multiple Wraith Bands, similar to the same vein that Super did with his mid sniper.
I think he just felt that he could get away with it, and I mean, it was very clear that he could, especially after they pick up the kill on the Queen of Pain. You can just build more and more greedy, and you just need the Morbid Mass faster, especially against the pressure of the Ion Shells. It's more important that you have some form of lane sustain.
G's spending a lot of time staying in. He's not actually moving around trying to gank too much. He's spent a lot of time in his middle lane. Now he's actually doing some jungling. Looks like he's going to be building into the Bloodstones once again first. As for his farm is not nearly as good as it was in game number 2. In fact, he's behind the Storm Spirit right now. What do you do as a Queen of Pain in this matchup when you're behind?
I mean, I still really like going for the Aghanim Scepter, or even the Yules if you're afraid of things like the Lina setup or the Drow Silence, but I mean, this is hard because it's not a matchup that you're meant to be behind in, and so Secret, they go for the smoke, and this is the space creation time.
This is rather interesting. That smoke, as you said, but the kind of curious part is that Illidan is going to try to solo up Roshan while VP go for that 4-man smoke into the enemy jungle.
He might actually kind of be successful with this, but Secret are headed in that same direction, and this is so tricky because they're right next to him, but they might not know. This timing is so weird.
It's all up to Puppey. If he runs down the river and his smoke pops, yep, it's popped now.
Oh, they know. This is so bad for Illidan. He has no idea that they're set up here, but he might actually just thought he's chasing an Invis hero, and they actually just run past it. Yeah, they actually don't know that this is happening.
They think there's somebody.
Oh, now he pings it out.
Yeah, he's going into it now. Illidan's already down to 350 HP. It's going to be very simple. Turns around, silence. Illidan, the TP out. Oh, that is beautiful. He gets away and will not be punished for his attempt at a solo Roche play. Now, Roshan is down to half HP, and Team Secret are actually going to go for it themselves now.
This is so weird because I don't even think Illidan could have done it without the help of the rest of his team. Like, that was just him alone hitting the Roshan. He had 300 HP, and Roshan still had about half, and it was just an odd attempt that I don't know if it could have succeeded without the help of something like Lil coming in with a medallion, which he doesn't have.
FNG perhaps too far forward. Oh, nice turnaround there with the 3-man Fissure. FNG pops the ultimate onto Kuro, trying to finish him off. Meanwhile, S4 jumps in, gets off the Sonic Wave, but God gets the kill first. Now FNG lands the light strike on Zai. Good Shalgrave, keeping him alive. He turns around with the wall on top of Arteezy's ultimate, just trying to push back a VP. But Virtus Pro, again, giving a lot of respect to Team Secret, not charging forward, not trying to take advantage of that small...
Oh, Arteezy, he no longer has the ult.
He's not actually blocked out. They still get hit by the Light Strike Array. He will be able to get around that one, and Lil is just kind of stuck in this channel with the wall on top. He goes down to the Arteezy raise.
And that's the power of the Kuro Rubik as he steals the Fissure, and that was the game-changing Fissure steal right there. Is that might have gone terribly wrong for them as they were really grouped up to kill Arteezy. The mech was already used by Zai. Not a whole lot of support from there. The Grave, I think, was used for Zai at the same time, too. So Arteezy might have just gotten isolated out, but still, I mean, you're losing S4 in all of these trades, and he's not really gaining any net worth. But at the same time, G just gets closer and closer to that Bloodstone. And like I talked about, Secret don't have a real natural Storm counter. Their lineups often don't, and At some point, you're going to just have to confront the fact that G's going to get a Bloodstone, and
S4
blinked.
He just blinked right into DK Phobos. They had the Echo Plant if necessary, but it's not. With the familiars there, they easily changed on him down, and G is now in a killing spree, bringing you that much closer to the critical Bloodstone that you were talking about. Oh, Kuro, he's going to be blown up by FNG as well. Gets the Light Strike Array to lead things off and had the Laguna Blade ready to go.
And everything right now just falling apart for Secret is... That was just such an unlucky blink. He had the vision up here, but didn't have the vision in the river, and that's going to lead to a kill. And I think this is going to mean a Roshan for VP at the same time. The Queen of Pain just doesn't have the farm to challenge it. Her Sonic Waves on CD. You don't have a BKB on Arteezy, so a lot of this fight is going to come down to Zai's initiation. Arteezy decided to go for the stats build. He wants to play for the mid game, and this is going to be really hard for them to challenge.
It still seems to be Virtus Pro a little bit scared of the Tier 1 tower still being up in that bottom lane, especially with the blinking hero like the Queen of Pain. There's just such a rapid response time that they back away from Roshan and instead are going for a 5-man smoke, a much safer play.
Oh, Secret go for their own 5-man smoke, and both teams are just angling for the high ground position.
And Team Secret, maybe the ones who get it here, they're on the Radiant side. That double staircase is going to be a killer if VP...
Oh, they spot that out, I think.
Jungle. G, he's the first one.
They know for sure now.
Goes for the SF, jumping in, trying to take out Arteezy immediately. FNG moves forward, gets one of the nukes, but Arteezy still looking decently healthy. God really wants to go for it, though. The Familiars are chasing him down. We'll be able to get a double stun there. And DK Phobos comes charging forward. S4 is actually going for FNG in the background. He does not have a TP, but it's still S4 not wanting to push that too much. A little bit of skirmish back and forth, but nobody dying just yet. It almost looks like Team Secret actually want to pursue Virtus Pro. VP thinking about the turnaround here. God still has plenty of mana. Over half of his mana pool is up, and he still has the Soul Ring, rather.
It's just so hard for them to kill Arteezy right now. Even if they overcommit for that, the Grave's almost always going to be there in position. If you notice that when they got split up, Puppey just hugged him at all times. He doesn't care about